Okay, today we are talking about adding polynomials. So remember a polynomial is, we talked about it in our second video of our last lesson. It's an algebraic expression that has two or more algebraic terms. So we're talking about adding two of those together. So for example, we're talking about what does it look like to add, like if we had, we'll call this problem 1. If we had 3n squared plus n plus 4, and we were adding that to n squared minus n plus 5. So we have two polynomials here, and we're adding them together. All right. So in the last lesson, we talked about constants. Constants are numbers that do not have a variable attached. So if you look in this problem here, what two numbers are constants? The 4 and the 5 are both constants because they do not have a variable attached to them. The other term that we need to learn is the term coefficients. Okay, a coefficient is a number that is multiplied by a variable. So in these problems here, let me grab another color here. Oh, sorry, my Ananias mixed up all my caps, so I think I'm grabbing yellow and I'm really grabbing a different color. Okay, so the coefficients. Coefficients are numbers that are multiplied by a variable. So 3 right here is a coefficient because 3 is being multiplied by n. There are actually 3 other coefficients in this problem. They are all understood ones. Remember that in front of just an n, oh, I meant to have a 3n right here, sorry. Plus 3n. Sorry, so 3 is also a coefficient. And then we have here an understood 1. Remember that you can put a 1 right in front of a variable. And we have an understood 1 right there as well. So those would both be coefficients. So again, coefficients are just numbers that are multiplied by a variable. So to add together polynomials, you're going to follow the same steps we've been following all year long. You are going to start by drawing boxes around each of the terms. Now to do that, since I kind of scribbled on there, I'm going to rewrite it so it's nice and big, and you should be writing this out with me. I'm just going to give myself a little more space because if it's too squeezed in, then it makes it a little more difficult to see. There we go. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw boxes around each of the terms so I can include any addition or subtraction symbols with each one. Okay, so our first step was to draw these boxes, like I've taught you in many, many other lessons. Now that we've done that, the next thing that we need to do is we need to combine like terms. So what did we say in the last lesson like terms are? Like terms are terms that look the same. So like n's are like terms, constants are like terms, squared numbers are like terms. So we did that in one of the last videos as well. So what we're going to do here is we're going to combine the n squareds together, okay? And we're going to combine the n's together. And finally, we're going to combine the constants together. Let me show you what that's going to look like. So we have 3n squared and we have n squared. They're both positive, so they're going to be added together. And this one has that understood 1 in the front. So it's like 3n squared plus 1n squared would give us 4n squared. And then here we have, we're going to add together the n's now, 3n and negative n. So we have a positive 3n and a negative n. Remember, there's an understood 1 in front of this one. So it's like saying 3n minus 1n. So that would be 2n. And it's positive because it's a plus 2n. And then with our constants, we have 4 and 5, and they're both positive, so we are simply going to add them together. 4 plus 5 is 9. And so that is our answer. That's our simplest version of this problem. We can't simplify it any further unless we know what n equals. So that is how you add together polynomials. So I would like you to try it. I have a practice problem that I want you to try. So you're going to pause the video and do this problem and then restart to check your work. Copy it out. All right, go ahead and pause the video and try to solve it in the same way as I did above, and then restart the video to check your work. All right, so again, I'm going to combine like terms. So I'm going to combine the squared terms. I'm going to combine the c's, and then I'm going to combine the, I didn't draw my arrows long enough, the constants. So starting with the squared, I have a positive c squared and a 4c squared. If I combine those together, I get a positive 5c squared. For my c terms, I have 3c and I have negative c. Remembering there's a 1 in front of that, so that becomes negative 1c. So 3c minus 1c is positive 2c, because 3 minus 1 is a positive 2, so you're at positive 2c. And then here we are combining together negative 5 and positive 7. So I can think of this, I can do negative 5 plus 7, or I can, in my head, I flip it around and I do 7 minus 5. So 7 minus 5 is 2, positive 2. And so that is the solution you should have come up with, 5c squared plus 2c plus 2. So that is how you add polynomials.